Hello? And we can hear me. Alright, that sounds awesome. This is July 16, 2017, and this is another episode of Is It Just Me? Am I the only one who notices some of this weird shit? I don't want to listen to myself on the headphones, so I'm going to go ahead and pull those off. But, sounds good. So hey, how's everybody doing? How the fuck are you? I've been watching this show recently. A show called Forensic Files. Alright, everybody calm down. I think I have sound effects for that. I could do like an applause or something like that. Not to get too fancy with you. But, yeah, so I've been watching this show, Forensic Files. It's basically unsolved murders, unsolved mysteries, but the show, like unsolved mysteries, but like they're solved. So it's like, you know, they tell you what happened. There's people who are around when and how it happened who are giving interviews and shit like that. And then normally it ends with, all right, well, here's the guy. We caught him. The guy, it's mostly the guy. Sometimes it's the chick. But here's the person. We caught him. Sentence him, convict him, all that other bullshit, right? I've noticed some weird consistencies or inconsistencies, whatever, some differentials in how some of these killers are perceived. And it's kind of crazy. So I was watching this one the other day, and this guy killed his girlfriend. Who knew? I hope, but just real quick, I want to get into like detail of what they did versus how people portray them. I know that everybody has a different level of standard for what's crazy, obviously, but shit's bananas to me. So, this guy had this girl. They're playing Monopoly one night. I don't know, like they get heated or some shit. He kind of slaps her in the face. She starts bleeding from the nose. She runs to the kitchen, or into the sink, washes it off. He goes to put away some fishing gear. And she just comes back up to him just ready for more. Just like, you know what, you sick son of a bitch, bloody nose and all this other bullshit. And then like he's just like, fuck it, whatever. He just moves his hand, strikes, and somehow he slashes her throat. But I just watched this recently, so I know my memory sucks, but I don't remember exactly if he just said he just left her there. I know he left her there, but like, did he do anything else? I don't remember, because this next part's weird. But like, even after they convicted him in court, I'm not really doing the whole story. I'm just gonna kind of shut up. Even after they pulled him into court, he told him what happened, but he still had a weird inconsistency in his story. He's like, yeah, I killed her, but here's the thing. So I cut her throat, yada yada. I went out to go get some accessories on how to get rid of this body, and I came back into the house, and this bitch was in the tub. No water on, nothing. I don't know who put her there. Thought she was dead. But she just crawled her way in the tub. They didn't go over any special evidence of anything like of she crawled her way to the tub. Like they do get detail to detail. I guess with a murder like this, they just, how they found it, they just wanted to know who did it, and just so they can prosecute his ass. So what happened was, okay. I don't want to do the story the way they tell it. Look, so he killed this girl. He comes back and she's in the tub, dead, whatever. So that's his story. And then so he just starts dismembering this person. Now he killed her. So it's very important to notice that, like, so she's already dead. That part already happened. It wasn't like he still was planning on killing her. He killed her. She's dead. Now what? Now you got to get away with this shit, right? You have to get away with it. So he spent a couple days, I guess, just cutting up her body parts with these knives. And apparently this dude played with some shit like this before, and he knew how to like skin animals and prepare them for meals and whatnot. And he fucking did everything. He dismembered the shit out of her. Like whatever he did with her body, he put it in one location. For some reason, he took the I guess the skull, everything but like the jaw, and like threw it in the water. And some kids found it while they were fishing one day. But yeah, so like this dude, so he's obviously just trying to get away with it. I understand it's gross and it's all crazy and all that shit, but after you kill someone, I don't know about you, but I can't just go to the cops and go, look, I did it. Immediately, all right, you are now restricted from free society. Like, you're going to stay in this jail cell until we find out what's going on. I can't even go home, reassemble, take a shit. I guess not take a shit, but feed my dog. Like, go tell my mom or whatever that, hey, I just confessed to this bullshit. You can't just tell them right away. I mean, obviously, so he's trying to get away with this shit. So he's doing what he knows how to do. He's going to peel this bitch's face off. So he, like, decapitates her, right? So she's in parts. by this point. And so he just, just starts defleshing. I don't know about the other parts. It seemed like he left it in one location, and 14 months later, like, all that was left was a few bones. So it's probably just animals. But to get her face, like, to make that unidentifiable, he just, like, they made it abundantly clear to say that he was removing her teeth, I guess, while maybe the flesh was still on, or before it was down to skull form, which would make sense. I'm an idiot in retrospect looking at this shit. This dude removed her teeth so you couldn't identify her. Fuck. Like, when they found the skull, there was like a broken root from one, and then they looked a little bit closer, which I don't know how hard it is to look, but it looked clear to me. But it looked like he forgot like 2 of her wisdom teeth, but I guess they said they were embedded in the flesh. So I guess that kind of pieces it together to me that, yeah, her head, everything's still intact, kind of, except for her neck to head. Everything's still intact, and he can't see these wisdom teeth. But he's like, it's his fault that they found out who this bitch was. You can't just leave that shit there, bro. Come on, man. But yeah, so he did some crazy fucking shit in retrospect. But after the murder itself, everything was crazy. He was just what he did to get away with it, and he almost got away with it. Okay, moving on. So now they said this guy was, he's vicious, he's a killer and all that other stuff, but I don't remember anything too describable other than the fact that they were just like, they were kind of astounded by what he could do. But I guess after they found out that he already knew how to like disembowel animals and deflesh them and shit, they weren't all that surprised, I guess. So all their colorful words just kind of left them. Next, a couple episodes later, I see this fucking crazy one where it's like, who's the culprit? The doctor. The doctor's the fucked up one. There's this RN who who goes to work at this hospital. She meets this doctor there. She has a husband and a kid, and he has a wife. They decide they like each other and all that stuff, and they decide to pursue a goal with each other. And then it's just this situation of, okay, well, if we both just leave our spouses, we'll be free to be together. So the chick, like, she divorces her husband to go be with this doctor. And this doctor's like, yeah, okay, I don't want to do that. And then she's like, wow, thanks for that. And then, like, at some point he's a kid with her. So, like, he's banging her on the side. I guess they're still together. She keeps saying, leave your wife, and he won't. He has a kid with her. So now she has a second kid, one of them with this doctor who's being an asshole. And so I don't know, she started getting sick at some point after she kind of broke it off with him. Now, the night that kind of changed things was kind of crazy. Like, she had broken up with him a little bit. She tried to see some other guys, and then he wouldn't let her. He'd gotten their case and shit like that. He threatened to, like, defame her in front of the hospital, putting up some nasty pictures of her everywhere, whatnot, just to keep himself safe. Now, it's important to remind you that for some reason, this doctor was her doctor who gave her B12 injections, and he gave it to her for lethargy. That's all. That's what I know. Okay, don't ask any questions. That's all I know. Okay, so he would do that, and I guess that's how you. If nothing happened, then that would have been okay. But like, so one night he calls her up after they're already kind of broken up, just rolls over to her house, and then she kind of wakes up. She was already crashed out, like, when he called, and then she's like, "Huh? What? Who? You coming over?" And then she just kind of hung up. He just shows up, and then she's just like. Next thing you know, she's getting an injection in the arm. And I guess she said this was more painful than normal. Now, I'm no doctor, and I'm no nurse. I don't give anybody injections, but I know a little bit. And I wonder if it's more painful. I don't know that it's the virus affecting immediately, or the blood, or whatever, but maybe it's a different needle gauge. Maybe that's, that should have, like, sparked something, in this fucking lady's mind. She is an RN. I know she gives injections, right? Or she did at some point. But, like, if this injection hurts, like, I assume the reason it would hurt was because of the size of the needle. Maybe whatever's coming out of that needle, of the syringe itself, is like, it needs a big fucking hole. So the gauge is smaller, yet larger. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. But, hey, I'm no nurse, no doctor. But, that's just something she remembered from the story. And then she just kind of, she got tested. I don't know, she went to a different doctor or two or something like that, and they were just like, oh, you have HIV. And she's just like, what? So they go through her history of guys she'd been done it with, and they say no, and then she just goes, she gave blood like a few months back, and then it was like, well, you didn't have any then, like we tested you then, you were fine. And then she just goes, okay, well, I know this doctor, like when they questioned that doctor at some point, he just said she's a slut, she sleeps around. Which is kind of weird for a doctor to say. They didn't say that she was a sleeper around her, that she was a slut. So they kind of just questioned him again, I guess after they learned some information. So they found out that she's got like HIV, right? And so she's just like, well, there's this weird scenario where I got an injection by this doctor, didn't even know about it, and they're just like, what? So they search his records and they found out that he made this phone call and that yada, yada, yada. So what happened was they searched this dude's records and found out that he had contacted like 2 patients that have different viruses. It's fucked up. One guy has HIV. And I think not just HIV, but full-blown AIDS. So he's got that, and so he just contacted him, wanted a sample of his blood, and apparently this only lives inside of blood for 12 hours, which I think, as a side topic, should be talked about. They said that, like, he had to have given this to her within a 12-hour period, like, to the RN, his girlfriend. Like, otherwise the virus dies. So I'm just like, wait a minute, okay, I'm not the smartest man in the world, but if you have, say, 5 quarts of blood in your system, could we just take out one at a time? just let it hang out for a little while and just go, okay. Virus is complete. And just keep, I guess it'd be hard to tell if you got all the blood out of somebody, you put that back in, and then, I don't know. How do you get all the virus out, you'd have to have all the blood at once, right? Couldn't just take out a quart at a time, put it back on the bottom, and then the virus doesn't go to the bottom. God, I'm retarded. You just need to kill someone for 12 hours, no blood, and then just give it back to them. That's all you got to do. Or do the system where you drain it and fill it up at the same time. And then it's just like, I'm running out of blood, and blood coming in from another direction. Anyways, so this had to have been done within a 12-hour period. That was kind of crazy. He also contacted a patient who had hepatitis C and took a sample of his blood and never reported it, never gave it to who he said he was supposed to document it. Doctors, they got a lot of documentation to do, right? And so he gave this girl HIV and hepatitis C. That is fucked up. That is super fucked up. Now, don't get me wrong. This is super jacked up. It was like August 1994. By 1998, he was convicted. This episode came out like 2001. As far as I know, this chick is still alive. She's just... Oh, and at some point she was pregnant. She when she got a blood test, she found out she had like hepatitis, HIV, and a baby. So she had killed the 3rd baby, or whatever, abortion, because she didn't want this thing to grow up like that. But still, they just, okay, I know the show's called Forensic Files. It's not everyone's a murder. But this, like, the doctor, they were just like, oh my God, what he did was atrocious. I get what he did. He abused the fuck out of his power to do something diabolical and nasty. Now, he didn't infect, like, an entire race with HIV. I don't know how, like, but I mean, giving it to someone, it's pretty fucked up. Like, what he did, I mean, like, I keep having this thought that once you're going to do something as far as committing murder, it's like everything else is just it's just a snowball effect. It's just like, oh, you commit murder, and you did this, and you did that. Like, let me go back for a minute. The guy who, like, I guess I didn't go over the conviction. The guy who killed his girlfriend and took off the head and whatnot and removed the teeth. So he was convicted of voluntary manslaughter and abuse of a corpse. He was sentenced to 12 to 25 years. Yeah, so see, the abuse of a corpse is just like, so you just charging me for making it difficult for you to find out how she died? I don't understand. Like, I killed her. Yeah, alright, well, charge me for that. But, like, because I used her body to jack off, because I used her dead hand to jack off my hand, you're going to charge me with that too? I don't understand. You're just going to keep going with this? Oh, and he beat the body up. He uppercut the body, that's battery. He lit it on fire. That's arson. It's just like, Can we just... I'm not backing up what he said. I just think it's weird. It's just like... Because this isn't the only thing you get charged for more than one thing at a time with. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've never had a DUI, but if I did get a DUI, I assume there'd be like 4 other charges to go with that. They'd be like, oh, DUI, there was a child in a car on the road somewhere. That's gross abuse of disorderly conduct of a child. Ba-ba-da-boobity-ba. Like, there was other people on the street. There's fucking arson. Like, I know it doesn't make any sense, but neither does a lot of it. Like, come on, dude. Charge me for what I did, not all the repercussions and all this other shit. Come on, man. Not everything's my fault. It's not my fault there's 2,000 people in the square foot in America. What am I saying? Fucking stupid. But, this one's gonna be kind of long. Where am I? I'm trying to go back. Okay, to that doctor. Yeah, this dude just abused the fuck out of his power. He took just viral blood and gave it to this girl. I don't know what kind of doctor he is. I don't know how long it takes to kill someone with this shit, but like, I also don't know how he thought he could get away with this shit. This bitch is still alive. Like, she's alive. They sentenced him to, what was it? 1994. So 4 years later, attempted second-degree murder. You know what? Let me pause this real quick. I need to get smarter real quick. Hold on. Okay, with the power of technology, I'm back. I guess I got a little bit smarter. Okay, wait, hold on. God damn it. Okay, technology, back again. Now I'm a little bit smarter. Alright, so, the first guy who pulled his girlfriend's teeth out, voluntary manslaughter. So this guy, he acted in the heat of the moment, is what he's saying, and he also wrote a bunch of letters that said, oh, I feel so sorry for what I did. And then they started investigating a little bit and started thinking he was kind of like a double-minded person. They're like, after what he did, how does he still say he loves his girl? Probably, I don't know, attention. Like, why are we looking too much into this shit? But voluntary manslaughter. So he killed her in the heat of the moment. There was no prior intent, right? The second guy who did this shit, the injection, he injected his girl with the HIV. Attempted second-degree murder. What did I read? Second degree means shit. Second degree means that he intended to do what he did. It was he intended to do evil, but he did not premeditate it out. Which was, I don't know what you document as premeditation. Then if he, he did all this in the heat. I guess they would have to be in the heat of the moment. It was, I intended to do evil with malice, right? Malice of forethought. I just read some legal terms. But, I didn't plan it out. So I wanted to do bad, but I didn't plan it out. Okay. You didn't plan it. And he got 50 years hard labor. And I'm not going to research that. I'm not going to pause it again. Me and my girlfriend researched that when the day we saw it. I guess hard labor is 50, that's the max you can get in that state of where he was in Lafayette, Louisiana. 50 years of hard labor for that. So I think that means he's going to work labor jobs or at the prison or whatever, just breaking rocks or some shit like that. Well, it doesn't really matter. He's going to do that, but he's not going to get breaks that you would normally get. You're not going to get paid for it. I mean, that's a punishment. That's basically, he's going to become a slave. That's fucked up. Don't get me wrong, but all the shit that they were saying about her, which I have nothing in front of you to tell you, it's just my opinion. All the shit they were saying, what he did was crazy. This there's something wrong with this guy. Of course. But she's still alive. So as far from what it looks like, hey, you know what? I'm over here. No one has any idea what my health code is right now besides the last doctor that kind of checked me out. No one's done any blood tests or shit. I could be 80% alive right now. Maybe he gave her some shit. I don't know much about HIV. Maybe she's just 60% alive right now. It's fucked up. Don't get me wrong. It's crazy, but I do think that taking someone's head off and just holding the skull in your head, removing the teeth, just going, I hope I don't get caught. There's two different levels of crazy. This dude became someone else once he started doing that. He had to have. This doctor abused his power, and maybe he didn't know how long it takes HIV to kill. I don't know. I thought that was weird. Now, here's a third one. The third one out of all the episodes I saw, this one came out. Oh my god. This dude's fucking crazy. Another guy who kills his girl. Who knew? So, trying to turn a long story short, over the course of 10 months, this guy's girlfriend named Carol, like she kept going to doctor's offices and whatnot, and I guess she went 31 times in 10 months to go say, hey, what the fuck? Something's wrong with me. I always feel sick. I have like a lazy eye over here all of a sudden now. It's bloodshot. I'm having like bad vision and headaches and it's weird shit. And it's like, she's bipolar. And I guess they've been giving her lithium or something like that. Whatever the fuck you give bipolar people. And they're saying, oh, maybe it's this. Maybe it's this. And she gets with this guy. I mean, this is after she got with him. But so she's, she makes a bunch of trips to go get some of this shit tested. At some point, she starts freaking out, just like talking to this one doctor, like, I can't wait for these results. What's going on? This is a couple weeks before her death. All right, now she died, and they thought it was congestive heart failure. I think they didn't run, I guess, a full autopsy. No, they did an autopsy. They didn't find anything, but they didn't know what to look for. And she wanted to be cremated, so they didn't keep her for long. And I guess there's a little bit extra piece right there of something happened. God damn it, I don't know where this is. Denver or whatever. There were Oklahoma bombing, I think. This was around that same time, and I guess like the doctor was like overwhelmed with all this shit. They couldn't just give their full attention to everything and anyone. They thought she was dead for this, and they called it. And then I guess they had a skin sample. They went back and checked up on her. So they come back with this story after talking to some of his friends, the alive person's friends now and whatnot. This dude fucked around with like antifreeze. They found it like in the pantry. They thought that was kind of weird. Started asking him about it. They noticed and they asked his friends, and apparently he had conversations with his friends, something to the extent of, "Did you know a teaspoon of antifreeze taken daily for 10 days will kill you?" I'm just like, I'm not going to disregard that. I'm going to disregard that. I'm not going to keep that as, oh my God, that's something it's weird to say that. But I've said weirder things, and I know at least one friend who has this information. Maybe not to that extent of 10 days, but how he knows something about like shit like that. Like he knows more about drugs than I do. Like what, their effect on you, what's good for you, what's bad for you, what can kill you. I don't know any of this shit. But I know one friend who just has that information because he just stares and reads at the internet all day. So, hey, I'm whatever. Just because he has it, it's weird. And that's why he said it, because you guys didn't know this. But anyway, I guess antifreeze has ethylene glycol. And I guess they did, some tests of that. And they found out, they did a test a week before she died. And they got it a couple weeks after she died or whatever. The results that said she had 6 milligram per deciliter. That's a smart number, but I don't know what it means, of ethylene glycol in her blood. And they were just like, at first, they were just like, oh, this must be lithium doing that. But then I guess at some point she stopped altogether and she still had it. And so look, all right, here's what I'm trying to break down and say. What happened was this dude eventually admitted to giving his wife antifreeze. He fed it to her for 10 months. Can we not comprehend how fucking crazy that is? Jesus Christ, how do you do that? You started seeing these doctors pop up on the episode. One of them was just like, look, he came up with a story that said she had drank like a half a gallon of this shit and somehow she still wasn't dead. I thought you would die after that. I don't know. But, he said he bought one and all of a sudden it's half gone. And he was just trying to plan and put it on her and saying, oh, she's doing this. It's not me. And then the doctor comes out. He's just like, look. I know people who commit suicide. I know of, whatever. He knows of people who commit suicide. It's normally a one-time thing. You may try again and again because it doesn't work, but it's not to the extent of, I tried to OD and it didn't work. And I'm just going to slowly try it until it works. He's just like, no one would drink this, if no one would poison themselves more than once. This had to have been given to her. Like he said, this happened over 10 months. This had to have been happening over that course of 10 months. So someone was slowly dosing her. And no one in their right mind would slowly make themselves sick. Or not even just slowly kill themselves by making themselves sick and irritable for the extent of 10 months. Someone had to have been doing this to her. So, I guess the guy had a girlfriend, and they talked to her, and she they made him wear a wire, and she asked him the question. He just admitted that he put it in her food. What I find really crazy, what funny too, was on the show is they made sure not to tell you how they covered up the taste of antifreeze. Because you can't just put a couple drops in someone. He said he put it in her soft drinks. That's what I've got from my limited research online. But it probably has a taste and an odor. I don't know. But he put it in her food, put it in her soft drinks, right? Still, you put a couple drops of alcohol in my rum, I'm going to taste it. He prepared whatever her drinks. He did this shit for about 10 months. And at some point, I guess they said he probably gave her a super dose a couple days before she ended up dying ultimately. But yeah, so he openly admitted to it, and then he didn't really know that someone had him recorded. But I mean, you can tell anyone anything. I can say right now, I'm not going to say anything, but I can say something stupid right now and it not be true just because I said it. I didn't know I was going to be in court when I said it, and that's why they make you swear on the Bible. So not a verbal confession isn't always legit. I wouldn't think so. I could say whatever the fuck. I killed Thor. I mean, put my ass in court. Be like, it didn't happen. I just said it because I was trying to get laid, man. Get off my back. Put my hand on the Bible, and I'll tell you that this next hour of conversation that I have is not going to be geared towards getting laid. Right? I didn't kill anybody. There. But yeah, so that verbal confession just goes right out the window for me. He even said himself, like, oh, well, I just wanted her to stay with me, so I just told her, so kind of, she's asking questions. I just wanted to shut her up. But yeah, so let's talk about this for a second. Who the fuck can do this shit every day for 10 months? Just slowly poison somebody? Just make them sick. You're doing this. That's like, it's like the scene in, was it Friday, when he drops the fucking ice on the floor and he puts it in the cup of water and gives it to his dad. Like, it was gross. That's dirty. It's not poison, but that's a one-time thing that he did that wasn't even to the equivalent of antifreeze. And would he do it every day? Like, that's fucked up. How do you do it every day without even going, you know what, today it's your birthday. It's your birthday, you get one for free. Fucking next week is Christmas. I'm not going to dose you on that day too. Look, I have a heart. Come on, I have a heart. This shit's beating. This dude, oh my God. What did he get tried with? He pled guilty to manslaughter. He got life in prison. But what's funny is, like, they said, like, I guess a couple days before she died, like, he was burning some documents and shit on his grill that his neighbor noticed outside, and he was throwing away a bunch of boxes and shit of his wife that had all her personal stuff in there. Dude was just, they knew it was him fucking way before they tested all this BS. He was at his wife's funeral just nodding off. He fell asleep. This dude was over it. He didn't give a fuck anymore. He's like, yeah, whatever. I guess he had a few girls rolling at the same time. He got married not long after she died. I think a few weeks. And, like, she's still his wife. And she's like, I don't believe he did this shit. There's no evidence. Even though he admitted it to his girlfriend at the time. I think these are all different women. I'm not sure. But yeah, I don't know how much I can emphasize this. When they grabbed when they grabbed him, he wasn't even like, he knew why he was going down. He was like, oh yeah, well, whatever. He just had this fucking slow, autonomous, if I'm using that word right, like, he had this slow look about him. Like, if you rolled up with him with a gun, he'd be like, oh, well, I'm a hostage now. Like, he's just going with the flow. Like, if someone rolled up to me with a gun, I'd be like, oh, shit. For the most part, I'd probably have some kind of reaction. This guy's just like, you come up with him, guy with gun, he doesn't shrug a shoulder, just, jump at all. He just stares and just goes, okay, well, I guess I'm a prisoner. I'm a whatever. You have the gun. You're in charge. I don't know that it would be that easy for me. This dude's crazy. I don't know how many women or people he killed, but I know that's fucking crazy. That is something else. Just to dose somebody with some shit for that long. See what I mean about? I think one of the things we have to look at for these three killers, even though one of them didn't kill, is how it happened. The first guy just killed and then tried to get rid of it, and that was the gross part. The second guy did some nasty intentional shit to give someone a fucked up virus that she has no money to fight. And she lost her kid and shit because of it. But that was a one-time injection. I know what he did was crazy and it was scandalous and it took him a little while to do it. And he had to grab it and call in a few favors. But, I mean, it was easily done for someone, someone where he's at. And he did it once. It wasn't like he had to come back next week and do it again. This guy went to, like, doctors with his wife, just played off straight face like he doesn't know what the fuck is going on. No one decided to pull him aside to ask him any questions. She never said, oh, well, this guy makes me soft drinks or whatever. Like, she wasn't like a vegetable in a wheelchair or anything. Like, I think he just made her a fucking soda every once in a while. Just put a couple drops in there. Probably put a couple drops of something else to cover up those drops. And then just pass that shit off onto her and watched her get sick. It's just like, oh, no, honey. Oh, not again. Oh, man, I'm going to go out. Like, Jesus Christ, there's something wrong with this guy. He's poisoning her food supply. Oh, my God. And I just... they were talking about this guy being crazy, but I feel like, I don't know, man. I'm watching these shows just one after another, and I jump up like something's wrong with this dude. Someone needs to slowly kill this dude. That's fucked up. And here's the thing is, I don't know exactly what ultimately everybody got as far as, it looks like none of these 3 people got the death penalty. It looks like they're all just doing time. I think at least one of these 3 people should be picked apart just alive and just be like, all right, well, here you go. This is what you did, motherfucker. We got to have someone do it back to you. Maybe it's too much for one person to do is just to kill someone. Whoop. I didn't mean for that sound to come in. I should have turned it on silent. But yeah, this is why we can't just have life be the term. You're going for life. Like, I know, there's death penalty, but we got to get something more creative, man. This shit's fucked up. Maybe you could have like the gangster killers in prison for doing all their gruesome killings and shit like that. And then when other killers, do something to that extent, like you just put them in a room together, you leave some tools and just be like, all right, well, as far as we know, one of y'all ain't walking out of here alive. You could kill him or he could kill you. You guys could band up and try to go up against us, but we have a fail-safe against that because the room you're in has nothing but vents, and we're just going to poison both of you and just unconscious and flip a coin and one of you are going to die. But we got to have some fucking Hunger Games going on over here. You can't have the same fucking repercussion for everybody because there's people dealing drugs that are getting life in prison. This guy fucking slowly poisoned somebody for like almost a year. I just wonder if he took holidays off. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this world's fucked up. This shit's crazy, and this is what I noticed through watching these couple episodes of this TV show. So, peace out. This will be the end of this one. July 16th. I'm gonna put this, and then I'm gonna put the other podcast I recorded yesterday up with me, Denzel, and Banyo. And I don't think the audio's all that great. I should have used my other mic that had this, 2 different mics, but where there was 3 of us, what was I gonna do? But I'm still working on this shit. Go ahead and I'm gonna put this on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Please like and share, comment, feedback, all that shit's appreciated. The GoFundMe's still up there. Still need some help with all this stuff. Hope I'm getting better at it and whatnot. I recorded some videos yesterday. I don't know how any of the audio didn't get recorded for Overwatch, but whatever I have today of that, and probably play some Bro Force, and just put some of that on there. But I gotta go take a shower and all this other stuff. It's getting hot in this room with no sound. I also need a mixer, y'all. Peace out, niggas.